We had fun on Fallon.
Yeah. And that was in Newton, Georgia.
New Georgia, Baker County.
1940.
I was about 6 years old.
Uh-huh.
We lived on Fallon.
Okay. The whole plantation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. That's all right. That's all right.
We'll take you up there one day.
Hmm? Tell me some more about Pilot.
We lived in an old house. It used to get so cold in that house, the water would freeze in the water bucket.
Hmm.
When you go to get the dip out the bucket, it would be frozen in the water. And it had between the boards, it had big spaces. Mama used to mix up flour, cooking flour, and pack in the holes and put newspaper on top of it. Hmm. And like a mattress, we had a straw field. Mama used to go cut straw and put in the mattress. Hmm.
What was y'all some of the favorite foods you had growing up?
Greens,
Yeah.
greens and fried meat,
Yeah.
and then like some good old collard greens and whole cake bread.
Yeah.
Blackberry doobie. Mama used to make plum jelly.
Mm-hmm.
We ate a lot of watermelon and shell peas and okra. I have wrung a chicken neck. Mama taught me how to wring a chicken neck when I was about 6 years old.
Now you ring his neck.
You catch him and get a good grip on his neck,
Mm-hmm.
and you turn him. You hold him tight. You don't turn his neck loose, and then you hit pop,
Mm-hmm.
and he hit the ground and he'll flutter till he die.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it now.
Mm-hmm. How were you when you learned how to do that?
About six,
Mm-hmm.
about 6 years old.
Yeah.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. That's some good eating back then.
Yeah, like Eartha husband saying that he would wait till the river, but he had a stepfather who was abusive.
Mm-hmm.
To hide from him, he would sleep in the graveyard.
Mm-hmm.
But he would say that his main diet was armadillos. He would say the river would go down and they couldn't get out, so he'd get them a crocus sack and pull them full of armadillos.
Mm-hmm.
But the most exciting story he told, he had a 6-year-old brother.
Mm-hmm.
And every day at 6 o'clock, for dinner time, supper time, his brother would disappear.
Mm-hmm.
For this particular day, the neighbors got concerned. They was calling him. They just called him. And they have the house to sit up high. They happened to look under the house. He had a snake, a big snake wrapped around him.
Mm-hmm.
He was taking his food, feeding the snake.
Mm-hmm.
And they killed the snake. He got sick. So he said, I'm playing with my friend. So they told him to go find his friend. So he and the snake come out the bush. The snake standing up on his tail. Mm-hmm.
So what year did y'all eventually move to Florida?
1960.
1960.
1960.
Where did y'all move to?
Fort Lauderdale.
Okay.
We left Newton. We live in the whole house wasn't big as this room.
Mm.
We was Fort Lauderdale.
Where in Fort Lauderdale?
In Green Apartments.
In Green Apartments or 15?
And me and Brendan and Preston didn't like Fort Lauderdale. And we tried to walk back to Florida.
Georgia.
And we realized we were going in a circle.
Mm-hmm.
The most exciting thing was ice cream truck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's been a lot of years ago.
Yeah. What was it like growing up in Fort Lauderdale in the early 60s?
It wasn't as bad as it is now.
Nope.
When we went to the store, Mama didn't worry about the police stopping us or arresting us. You stayed in your place and they didn't bother you. Yeah. But now they'll get you whether you're in your place or not.
Yes. Sad.
But we enjoyed it because we learned about the pool.
Mm-hmm.
We had swings at the school. We could stop the ice cream truck.
Mm-hmm.
We had fun. And we had sprinklers, and we used to spray the sprinklers in the summertime.
Yeah.
That was like, we never saw a sprinkler.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What school did you go to?
Norfolk Elementary.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I first met your daddy's aunt,
Oh,
Odessa.
okay.
She works in the office at Norfolk.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And what was Granddaddy at the time?
He was with us.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he worked at Sunny South Aircraft, was out near the airport.
Yeah.
And he would bring hot ice home.
Mm-hmm.
We was amazed because we couldn't get the milk.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And then on Newton, on the river, on the Flint River, that was Mr. Paul and Miss Seeley. They live on the river. You could stand on the front porch and see the river running.
Mm.
Mm-hmm. I wonder is that house still there?
I don't know. I can recall when we were younger. You took us to Auntie Ann's house, and you were showing us all the different like plants and stuff. And you showed me rabbit grass and everything.
Oh, yeah.
And you told stories of how Grandma would make different medicines and stuff from.
She boiled it.
Yeah.
And we had the measles.
Mm-hmm.
When the rabbit grass was green,
Mm-hmm.
had little seeds on it, but it would get dry, turn black.
Yeah.
Mama used to boil it and we drink it. Or she would make shuck tea.
Mm-hmm.
Or hog pism tea.
What's that?
The hoof off the hog, you boil it and it turned orange.
Mm-hmm.
And bitter, it would break a fever. You wake up, you have a ring around it.
Mm.
It done broke the fever from a hog foot. Hog foot.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah. We had a bait bed.
A bait bed. What's a bait bed?
Right in the kitchen window was a bait bed. You would throw your dishwater and all your stuff on that bait bed.
Mm-hmm.
And when you got ready to go fishing, you get your hole and you dig up baits and they be in big balls.
Mm-hmm.
Or you go down on the creek and you grub them.
Mm-hmm.
Put a stick in the ground, you tickle the ground, they come up.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Man.
Yeah, but I would love to go up on Pound.
What kind of fish did y'all catch?
Brim.
A lot of brim.
Brim and cat.
Yeah.
One of the nurses here, she and her husband got a big boat.
Mm-hmm.
They caught over 100 catfish.
Yeah.
She said she gonna bring me some.
Yeah.
Over 100 catfish.
That's a lot of catfish. I didn't know catfish. So in Newton, y'all were sharecroppers.
You were a sharecropper.
Yeah.
You work all year and the boss man give you what he wants you to have.
Yeah.
If he cheated you, you were too afraid to say you cheated me. You just took what he gave you.
Mm-hmm.
Because number one, you weren't supposed to know how to read.
Mm-hmm. So it'd be fair to assume, growing up in that era, definitely in that part of the United States, so the southeastern part of the United States, in Georgia, South Georgia, you definitely experience racism.
Racism ain't the word.
Yeah.
It would be so cold, we had to walk like from here out to 75 to the bus stop.
So we're talking about that's about 5-6 miles.
Yeah. It would be so cold, the ground be frozen, we done cracked open. And Daddy would take a drum and build a fire.
Mm.
So we keep our hands warm. And when we get to school, our hands be so cold. When we stand in front of the heater, we cry because they be thawing out.
Yeah.
And we used to take our lunch to school in a large bucket. Mama would get up and pick a chicken and fry him for us to take our lunch.
Mm.
In a large bucket. And we had a shelf in the classroom. And you would see them greasy sacks and newspaper Children used to wrap their lunch in newspaper.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what year was this?
That was maybe 40, 40, 45, 44, 40, 44.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We had a great big old pot belly stove. Didn't know nothing about no cafeteria. If we went from one class to the other one,
Mm-hmm.
you had to go outside because they had a big old long hallway.
Mm-hmm.
And you had to go outside. You couldn't call the parents if the child was sick because they lived way out in the country. There were no cell phone. You didn't have no record phone.
Mm-hmm.
They had this boy, his name was Charlie Robinson. He had great big ears. His grandmother's name is Dally. His mama had died and his grandmother raised him, and she was mean to him.
Mm-hmm.
And she used to pull his ear when he'd do something bad. She had pulled his ear so he sat in front of me. Plus it run all down his neck. Charlie Robinson.
Yeah.
I often wonder about those people out there still alive.
Yeah.
Coran Walker. Edwin Alberta Parks.
If you could say the one thing about yourself and the person how would you describe yourself?
Average.
I disagree with that. You're average.
We had so many rats. They were just as red as that tomato, the baby rats. I opened the safe drawer one day and it was full of rats.
Mm-hmm.
What the rats do, they cut up the paper in the drawer and make a bed for the babies.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
That had rats real bad.
And in March, we would cook on the fireplace because the wind would come out, blow the fire in the stove. So you take a fire iron and rake the ashes out of the fireplace and cook and eat.
Mm-hmm.
Mama have taken 2 bricks and put in the yard and cooked on them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We were just so happy because we didn't do no better. We had outdoor toilets. Wasn't nothing to go to the toilet and see a snake dangling in the door.
I'm sure that'll wake you up pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Most definitely. Yeah. So
we used to go to the Newton to see grandmama.
Mm-hmm.
We would always sit in the car and listen to Ernest Record Smart until Daddy would go in the house and build a fire.
Mm-hmm.
Daddy'd come out with a snake on a stick. Snake up in the house.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go to Pound.
Yeah. Pound Plantation.
Mm-hmm. Yellow Corner.
Yeah. Yeah. So how different were things like far as racism when you
Believe it or not.
what's we got, let's say, Fort Lauderdale in comparison?
In Fort Lauderdale, you didn't live near white people.
No, you didn't.
But in Newton on Pound, right around the barn, Cat Donald and Cabin lived.
Mm-hmm.
Mama used to go wash for them. They lived right around the barn.
Mm-hmm.
There was no segregation. It was political segregation, but not. You don't live next door to me.
Really, ain't nobody have nothing.
We played together. Donald and Kevin had a BB gun.
Mm-hmm.
They taught me how to shoot the BB gun.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Kevin wore glasses.
Mm-hmm.
But it was racism. White people call you nigger right in front of your face and you wouldn't do nothing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. A boy.
Yeah.
That's what they always call daddy boy.
Grown man called.
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing you could do about it.
Because you had nobody on your side. What would happen? If you said something out of line, you had nowhere to go because the plantation that you lived on, they would go next door and tell them not to let you live there. They gang up on you.
Was there ever were there ever any like threat like being lynched or violence
If it
against black
was,
people?
I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah.
Wasn't aware of it.
But you never experienced
It
that.
happened, but I'm sure they kept it under cover.
Yeah.
Just like they do now.
Yeah. 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 A funny time. As much as things change, they remain the same.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
There's this lady, Miss Ada. She retired about 3 weeks ago. I just saw Miss Ada every now and then. She was in the kitchen. She can cook some dessert. It was kind of emotional for me because one time we weren't allowed in a place like this.
Of course.
And I know that we were standing on her shoulders. And she had seen a lot of unfair stuff.
Yeah.
So I told her, I said, it's been a long journey. She said, yes, it has, but I still had to lay the bricks.
Of course.
Yeah, they went through with something.
Oh yeah.
Because it's still bad. They went through with something, you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to know. I appreciate you.
I'm glad you do. I know you do.
I appreciate everything you've done for me, and I'm sure anybody who's met you will appreciate the person you are. You've been. You're a good woman, and you help me and my brother be two good men.
Yeah.
And we definitely love you and appreciate you for that. And some of the wisdom that you have, and you pass it along to us.
The guy, this facility sits on 120 acres. So their last name is LaHood.
Mm-hmm.
So Ray was sitting where you were sitting. And we have a patient here. She loved to drop name drop. They got money, they came to see. So I said to her one morning at breakfast, I said, you know what? She said, my granddaughter, she's married a man. He's a good man. He got plenty of money. So it kind of ticked me off. I said, so you're saying that since I said, if your granddaughter is married up this man with all his money, ain't nobody got him, something wrong with him. I said, just because he got money don't mean you won't beat her behind. So I said this to LaHood. He said, you know what? I said, you got a lot of wisdom. I said, just because a man got money, I mean, he won't beat your behind. I said, he'll beat you quicker. Because he used to getting what he wants. But this guy, he's a billionaire. Just like talking to an old country boy.
Yeah.
Like my therapist say to me, Myrtice, if you hadn't fallen, I would have never met you. We sit over in the exercise room and listen to B.B. King.
Yeah.
And talk about food.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's all right.
But people like plain people. They don't like.
Yeah. Well, real people, I've seen to come to find out over the years that real people like real people.
Real people like real people.
Yeah.
And they know when you're putting on.
Yeah.
Because I asked him, had he ever had kudu liver?
Kudu liver. And explain to everybody what's a kudu.
A turtle.
Okay.
Jimmy said that's some good eating.
Okay.
Said his mama used to cook kudu liver. So the hood said, I eat it. He talked about the farm and his granddaddy had tobacco.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of people that get nervous and start scratching their head.
Mm-hmm.
It's because he got a couple dollars.
Mm-hmm.
He look like just like anybody else to me.
Yeah. Tell me about your lady who's like real dear to you, Miss Silla.
Miss Silla taught me a lot.
Yeah.
She taught me a lot. She made me realize that there was nothing wrong with me. That she had gone through some of the same things I've gone through.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what you told her, she was never surprised.
Mm.
Mm.
Mm. Yeah.
Like she had her first baby from her daddy.
Yeah. How many children did she have?
Let's see, she had Mary, Daisy, Junior. Mary, Daisy, Junior. She had 5, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But they weren't all her first baby. They all weren't from her daddy.
Mm-hmm.
But her first baby was from her daddy. She said when she went into labor, her daddy came in the room when the midwife had gone out the room. And see, back in the day, you didn't go to the hospital, midwife.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And so her daddy said, if you tell them this is my baby, I'm going to kill you. So she went and told her mama.
Mm-hmm.
And her daddy beat her mama up.
Mm-hmm.
They went through it, something, you hear me?
Yeah.
So as a result, she was 15 and she married a guy 35 years old because she got tired of her daddy.
Mm-hmm.
The first thing smoking, she caught.
Yeah.
But they kept on going.
Yeah. Yeah.
She told a story this to go to a white man at the store.
Mm-hmm.
And he sold shoes. They weren't allowed to try the shoes on. And said they would get halfway home and try the shoes on. And the whole bottom come off the shoe. Because they'd be old and he would let them try them on.
Mm-hmm.
They just took it. That's all they knew. That's all they knew. All they knew. But your grandmama, your granddaddy, he went work a quarter. And Daddy used to say he'd go into town, he'll be right back. Don't see him no more than Monday morning. And we wouldn't have no food to eat. And Mama would tell us to stand in the road because the white people would go to town on Saturday. And Mama would knock that window up, slid down. She'd go in the white folks' house, she'd get some peas and some seasoning meat. She'd cook a big pot of food and she'd pea feed us. And she would say, if you see anybody coming, y'all make noise.
Mm-hmm.
And she would go in the white people's house and get food for us to eat. And Daddy, he'd come home and eat like he bought it.
Here you go, madam.
Thank you.
You're welcome. She has some water in the cooler.
That was the one I threw in the floor by mistake.
The book? And she got some water in it? Yeah. You know she needed this one? Yeah, I got it out of the refrigerator. She can take her meds.
Anyway. And the thing is, you didn't have no kind of assistant.
Mm-hmm.
Black people didn't know anything about food stamps.
No.
You didn't have programs to go into when you were pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mama told me when she was pregnant with Preston, your oldest uncle, she asked her mama where her baby come from. Her mama told her at the cabbage patch. So she got a crocus sight when digging up cabbage looking for a baby.
Mm-hmm. And how old was he when she had uncle?
He was 15 and he weighed 15 pounds and she was 15. She didn't know no better. She had no sex education classes to go to.
Yeah.
Mrs. Howard. Here's Mr. Howard.
Hello.
Could I get some Georgia sugar this morning?
Yeah.
And that's my daddy.
Show your daddy.
Hmm?
Yeah, that's your daddy. I say show your daddy.
What you say now?
Now, baby, put me some cold water in there.
All right. Well, Miss Howard, I thank you for this interview, and I do
We
appreciate.
gotta do this further one day.
And we will, and we definitely will. But I thank you, Mama. I thank you for your time,
Ain't got nothing but time.
and I thank you for being my mama.
Yeah, that's a prayer. That's a joy.
All right.
You got a lot of time.
And I appreciate you.
I know you do.
All right.